Welcome to the final lesson of our Intro to Ancient World History course. In this lesson, we will focus on ancient America. Many people think that America is the last place you would look for ancient history. But actually, that's only because a lot of it is overlooked in our history classes. People are believed to have first reached America via the Bering Strait from as early as 30,000 years ago. The Bering Strait land bridge is a widely accepted scientific theory that states that during the last ice age, when vast quantities of water were contained in frozen glaciers, a land and ice bridge connected Asia to America until around 11,000 BC. This bridge would have made it possible for people to travel from Siberia to what is now Alaska. In North America, these people eventually developed into the nomadic tribes that settlers came across in the 1400s. They were, and in many cases still are, rich cultures with their own belief systems, traditions, languages, art, and knowledge. It's hard for us to know much about them because they did not build cities and relied mostly on oral history. They were also murdered en masse from the 1400s on when European settlers began to arrive. Few ancient artifacts have been discovered in North America, but the ones there are astounding. For example, in 2017, a trackway of footprints was discovered in New Mexico. Scientific studies showed them to be around 10,000 years old. The footprints tell the story of a woman or possibly teenage boy carrying a child. At one point, they set the child down and pick them up again. At the end of the trail, the child is set down and left somewhere, and the adult footprints return from the direction they had come. Nearby tracks show that the pair were in close proximity to a giant sloth and a woolly mammoth. Scientific theory attributes it to either the Adena culture, an ancient Native American culture, or the Fort Ancient culture, which ironically is more modern. In South America, agricultural civilizations who built cities developed. The oldest of these civilizations we know of is the Caral Soup civilization. Not much is known about this ancient Peruvian civilization other than the fact that they were masterful architects. Archaeologists discovered a 1,500-acre site located over 100 miles north of Lima, which features 6 ancient pyramids and sunken giant staircases that all sit on a desert terrace overlooking the Soup River. Its largest pyramid, the Pyramide Mayor, would have been nearly 100 feet tall. Carbon dating has revealed the pyramid to be roughly between 4,000 to 5,000 years old, amazingly making its architecture as old, if not older, than the oldest known pyramid in ancient Egypt. That remarkable discovery places Caral as one of the oldest known cities in the Western Hemisphere. This site in coastal Peru, which has been considered one of the world's cradles of civilization, flourished nearly 4,000 years before the start of the powerful Incan Empire. The next prominent South American civilization was the Olmec civilization, located in ancient Mexico from around 12,000 BC to 400 BC. The Olmecs are known for their sacred complexes, massive stone sculptures, ball games, and animal gods. These features of Olmec culture were passed on to those peoples who followed this first great Mesoamerican civilization. Olmec influence and trade spread from the Gulf of Mexico and reached south as far as present-day Nicaragua. Their trade sites suffered intentional destruction of Olmec monuments around 300 to 400 AD. The Mayans settled in South America around 1800 BC. However, they did not experience their golden age until much later. The earliest Mayan period was characterized by agriculture, as they primarily grew crops such as maize, also known as corn, beans, and squash. In addition to agriculture, the pre-classic Maya also displayed more advanced culture traits like pyramid building, city construction, and the inscription of stone monuments. The Mayan classic period began around 250 AD. This was the golden age of the Maya Empire. Classic Maya civilization grew to some 40 cities. Each city held a population of up to 50,000 people. At its peak, the Maya population may have reached 2 million or as many as 10 million. The Zapotecs, also known as the Cloud People, inhabited the southern highlands of central Mesoamerica, specifically the valley of Oaxaca. The Zapotec pantheon is as complex and confusing as any other Mesoamerican religion is to modern eyes. Due to the standard deities controlling important agencies on the human condition, such as rain, sun, wind, earth, and war. Some of the most important gods were Kakigo, who had a human body with a jaguar and serpent features, with a forked tongue, the rain and lightning god. The bat god, the god of corn and fertility, Beto. The bat god, the god of corn and fertility, Beto. God of seeds and wind, Pitau Cosby. The corn god, Keto, god of justice. Pixie Pekala, the god of love, and Kokwi Z, the creator god, who represented infinity. The Zapotecs made offerings, prayers, and sacrifices that were offered to these deities in the hope of their favorable intervention in human affairs. For example, they wished for the arrival of vital rain for the crops, the end of droughts, or the bringing of fertility to the Zapotec population. The Nazca civilization, existing from around 200 to 600 BC, flourished on the southern Peruvian coast. They settled in the Nazca and other surrounding valleys. The Nazca graves and burial sites are the richest source of Nazca artifacts. Fine pottery and textiles that were buried with the dead have been found. The deceased were mummified, carefully wrapped in textiles, and usually placed in seated positions. But the Nazca are most famous for the incredible geoglyphs made on the desert floor known as Nazca Lines, covering an area of 170 miles squared in the South Peruvian desert. The Nazca Lines are a collection of hundreds of colossal images carved into the desert floor using shallow channels. More are discovered every year. The glyphs depict animals, plants, people, and some even believe aliens. Because of their sheer scale, the glyphs are only visible from the air, so it's a mystery as to who they were made for, or why. Luckily, because of their isolated location and the dry, windless, stable climate of the desert, the lines have mostly been preserved naturally. They were designated as an UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1994. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed our course on ancient world history. Please visit my site in the future to learn more about interesting parallels between our world and the past.